When a parent looks at a child and says, she is intelligent, the real question is, intelligent in what way? Because intelligence is not one thing. One child thinks through numbers, another thinks through language, another thinks through movement, another thinks through emotions, another thinks through silence, symbols, and deep meaning. And when we force every child into one academic measurement, we don't measure intelligence, we often bury it. This is where intelligence mapping through Vedic astrology becomes so powerful. Not as a vague personality label, not as a generic your child is creative statement, but as a diagnostic framework. A way to read the structure of cognition through planets, signs, houses, Karakas, conjunctions, and aspects. And in Ava's chart, the intelligence pattern is very clear. This is not a simple, soft, one-dimensional intelligence chart. This is the chart of a deep decoder. Ava is not primarily built to memorize and repeat. She is built to investigate, question, analyze, connect, and understand what sits beneath the surface. Her most dominant intelligence is logical, mathematical intelligence, but not in the dry, mechanical sense. This is not just good at math. This is systems intelligence, diagnostic intelligence, pattern intelligence, the ability to look at complexity and ask, what is the structure underneath this? Where is the flaw? What is the hidden mechanism? What is the logic behind the behavior? The core engine here is Mars, Mercury, Saturn, Ketu, and Rahu working through a very strong technical and investigative axis. Mars is exalted in Capricorn in the third house. This is a major signature. The third house is skill, hands, effort, courage, communication, practice, writing, applied learning, and technical ability. Mars here does not merely think. Mars executes, Mars tests, Mars builds. Mars learns by doing. So Ava's intelligence will not fully open in passive learning environments. If she is made to sit quietly, memorize, reproduce, and obey, her strongest intelligence may look hidden. But give her a problem, a puzzle, a machine, a code, a research question, a strategy game, a lab, a case study, or a real-world system, and suddenly the mind switches on. This is why her education must include problem-solving, coding, robotics, logic games, research assignments, technical models, experiments, and structured challenges. She will not respect vague teaching. She needs clarity, precision, and intelligent difficulty. But the second dominant intelligence is just as important, existential intelligence. This comes from Jupiter as Atma Karaka, exalted in Cancer, placed in the 9th house. Now this changes everything. Because Ava is not only a problem solver, she is a meaning seeker. Jupiter as Atmakaraka makes wisdom the soul's core hunger. The 9th house makes the mind ask larger questions: truth, ethics, belief, philosophy, law, teaching, morality, higher education, culture, worldview, and purpose. So if you teach Ava mathematics without meaning, she may perform but not feel connected. If you teach science without wonder, she may understand but not feel alive. If you teach history without philosophy, she may remember but not care. If you teach language without emotional or symbolic depth, she may get bored. This child needs to know why something matters. Why is this subject important? Where does it apply? What does it reveal about life? How does it help people? How does it connect to truth? What is the deeper principle? This is the mark of a philosophical intelligence. And for parents, teachers, counselors, and education psychologists, this is critical. Ava should not be treated as a child who only needs academic pressure. She needs intellectual purpose. Her third major intelligence is linguistic intelligence. Mercury is the Amatya Karaka, and this is one of the most important diagnostic points in the entire chart. In the Karaka system, Atma Karaka shows the soul's deepest direction, while Amatya Karaka shows the work engine, the applied intelligence, the way the person's skills become useful in the world. With Mercury as Amatya Karaka, Ava's career intelligence is strongly linked with communication, writing, analysis, technology, strategy, education, trade, business, media, data, and explanation. But Mercury is placed in Scorpio in the first house, along with Sun and Saturn. That means this is not light conversational Mercury. This is penetrating Mercury. Ava's words can become sharp, insightful, investigative, psychological, and precise. She may not enjoy shallow small talk. She may prefer conversations where something real is being discussed. Motives, patterns, truth, psychology, mysteries, systems, contradictions, ethics, and hidden realities. This combination is excellent for writing, debate, research essays, psychology, law, investigative journalism, technical communication, counseling frameworks, content strategy, public speaking, teaching, podcasting, and even script writing. But she must be guided, because a strong Scorpio Mercury can become too intense, too blunt, too suspicious, or too private if not emotionally trained. So the challenge is not lack of language. The challenge is emotional calibration of language. She must learn how to say powerful things with timing, tact, and empathy. The fourth major intelligence is intrapersonal intelligence, self-awareness. This is where Ava becomes very interesting. Scorpio ascendant with Sun, Mercury, and Saturn in the first house creates a serious, self-contained, observant personality. She may be far more internally aware than she appears. She may read people quickly. She may notice emotional shifts. She may sense hidden tension. She may understand when adults are pretending. But Saturn in the first also creates pressure. The child may feel she must be composed, correct, mature, responsible, and in control. Sun in the first adds identity, strength, and dignity. Mercury in the first adds self-analysis. Scorpio adds depth, secrecy, and emotional intensity. So Ava may not always express her feelings easily. She may process internally. She may withdraw when hurt. She may become quiet when overwhelmed. She may not immediately tell you what is wrong. And if adults misread that as arrogance, rebellion, or coldness, they will miss the truth. The truth is, she needs safe depth. She needs mentors who do not shame her, parents who do not force emotional exposure, teachers who do not humiliate her publicly, counselors who understand that some children speak only when trust is established. For Ava, journaling, reflective writing, mentoring, psychology, meditation, symbolic art, and private creative expression are not optional hobbies. They are emotional regulation tools. The fifth intelligence is interpersonal intelligence, but it is selective. Moon in Leo in the 10th house gives public emotional visibility. Ava can be expressive, warm, dramatic, leadership-oriented, and publicly impactful when she feels safe. Jupiter gives mentorship. Mercury gives communication. Rahu in Virgo in the 11th gives network intelligence and digital social systems awareness. But she is not necessarily a people-pleaser type. She may not want constant group interaction. She may not enjoy noisy peer dynamics. She may prefer a few meaningful connections over many shallow ones. This is a child who can become an excellent speaker, teacher, counselor, guide, presenter, youth mentor, or psychological communicator. But she must not be pushed into social performance before emotional trust is built. The moon in Leo needs appreciation. It needs dignity. It needs recognition. If this child is constantly criticized, compared, or ignored, her public confidence may become defensive. But when she is encouraged with respect, she can shine. Now let us talk about Ketu and Pisces in the 5th house. This is a very subtle but powerful intelligence marker. The 5th house is creative intelligence, memory, higher learning, talent, judgment, past life merit, symbolic thinking, and inner creativity. Ketu in Pisces here gives abstract, intuitive, spiritual, nonlinear intelligence. Ava may have a natural attraction to symbols, dreams, metaphysics, mythology, psychology, music with meaning, spiritual stories, hidden knowledge, or philosophical creativity. This is also why she may not always learn in a straight line. She may jump to conclusions intuitively. She may understand something but struggle to explain how she got there. She may dislike overly rigid academic formats. She may need diagrams, metaphors, stories, and conceptual maps. This is where parents and teachers must be careful. Not every intelligent child explains intelligence in a linear way. Some children know through structure, some through intuition. Ava has both. That is rare, but it requires the right educational handling. Her naturalist intelligence is also present, though not the topmost. Jupiter in Cancer, Ketu in Pisces, Scorpio rising, and Mercury's investigative nature can create sensitivity toward living systems. Biology, psychology, ecology, animals, water, healing, food, herbs, body systems, emotional environments, and natural patterns. This may not always appear as a simple love for gardens or animals. It may show as fascination with life cycles, behavior, biology, healing, the nervous system, environmental changes, or the emotional atmosphere of places. She may feel different in different rooms, homes, schools, or natural settings. Her environment matters. Her visual spatial intelligence is moderate but meaningful. Venus in Sagittarius in the 2nd house gives refined speech, cultural taste, aesthetic value, and love for meaningful beauty. Jupiter in the 9th gives big picture imagination. Ketu in the fifth gives symbolic imagery. Rahu in Virgo in the 11th gives system design and digital patterning. So her visual intelligence may not be purely decorative. She may enjoy diagrams, charts, maps, infographics, symbolic art, educational design, research boards, mythology-based visuals, psychology maps, or data visualization. She may like visuals that explain a deeper truth. Her bodily kinesthetic intelligence is also present through exalted Mars in the third house. This is excellent for hand skill, technical dexterity, martial arts, instruments, robotics, crafts, lab work, model making, and practical experimentation. She should not be made completely sedentary. Her mind can actually become sharper when the body is engaged, and her musical intelligence is moderate. Venus in the second gives beauty in speech, voice, and sound. Moon in Leo gives performance potential. Ketu in Pisces gives devotional and subtle sound sensitivity. Music can be a healing support for Ava, especially classical, lyrical, devotional, dramatic, or emotionally meaningful music. So if I rank Ava's intelligence profile from strongest to least dominant, it looks like this. First, logical mathematical intelligence, systems, analysis, technology, strategy, diagnostics, problem solving. Second, existential intelligence, meaning wisdom, philosophy, ethics, truth, higher learning. Third, linguistic intelligence, writing, speaking, research explanation, debate, teaching, communication. Fourth, interpersonal intelligence, self-awareness, reflection, emotional depth, personal philosophy. Fifth, interpersonal intelligence, selective but strong, leadership, mentoring, counseling, public communication. Sixth, naturalist intelligence, living systems, environmental sensitivity, biology, healing, pattern recognition in nature. Seventh, visual spatial intelligence, symbolic visuals, diagrams, design systems, educational mapping. Eighth, bodily kinesthetic intelligence, technical hand skill, martial discipline, building, robotics, instruments. Ninth, musical intelligence, supportive, emotional, devotional, aesthetic, but not the primary engine. Now, what fields will Ava most enjoy? The best fields are not random. They must combine her dominant intelligences. She may do extremely well in psychology, cognitive science, neuroscience, data science, AI, software engineering, robotics, law, policy, ethics, forensic science, criminology, research psychology, education, philosophy, investigative journalism, UX research, design research, medical diagnostics, environmental psychology, and symbolic systems research. The most powerful combinations for her are psychology plus data, technology plus ethics, law plus investigation, education plus philosophy, research plus communication, engineering plus human behavior, AI plus consciousness, writing plus psychology, design plus systems, medicine or neuroscience plus diagnostics. This is not a chart that should be pushed only toward marks, exams, and status. If she is pushed only into a conventional success template, she may achieve, but she may not feel connected. Her joy comes when she can solve, discover, explain, and give meaning. Now let me speak directly to parents. If Ava is your child, do not make the mistake of thinking she is difficult just because she asks hard questions. Do not assume she is detached just because she does not immediately express emotion. Do not assume she is rebellious just because she challenges shallow explanations. Some children ask questions because they are trying to avoid work. Ava may ask questions because her intelligence needs architecture. She needs the internal logic before she commits. So instead of saying, just do it, try saying, here is why this matters. Instead of saying, stop overthinking, say, let us structure your thinking. Instead of saying, why are you so serious? Say, what are you observing? Instead of saying, you are too intense, say, let us find the right channel for that intensity. This one shift can change the child's entire educational journey. For school counselors and education psychologists, Ava needs a learning plan that respects depth. She needs inquiry-based learning, research tasks, structured debates, case analysis, journaling, presentation opportunities, coding or systems exposure, and emotionally safe mentorship. She should be allowed to lead projects where she investigates something and then explains it. That is where her intelligence comes alive. For teachers and professors, she needs challenge, but not humiliation. She needs high standards, but not harsh comparison. She needs freedom to question, but also discipline to complete. She needs depth, but also deadlines. She needs intellectual respect, but also emotional guidance. Her growth areas are very specific. First, she must learn emotional openness. Not everyone is unsafe. Not every feeling must be hidden. Not every vulnerability is weakness. Second, she must learn communication softness. Truth is powerful, but delivery decides whether truth heals or wounds. Third, she must learn perfection tolerance. Her first attempt does not need to be final. Mistakes are not failure. Mistakes are data. Fourth, she must learn social trust. She does not need many friends, but she does need healthy collaboration. Fifth, she must learn rest. A chart with strong Mars, Saturn, Scorpio, and Virgo patterns can push itself too hard. The mind can become relentless. She needs nature, movement, music, journaling, and quiet time. Sixth, she must learn to enjoy learning, not only master it. Jupiter as Atma Karaka wants wisdom, not just performance. And this is why intelligence mapping matters. Because when we read a child only through marks, we see output. When we read a child through behavior, we see reactions. But when we read through Vedic intelligence mapping, we begin to see design. We see what kind of mind this child has. We see whether the child learns through logic, language, movement, music, nature, people, images, self-reflection, or meaning. We see the Atma Karaka, the soul intelligence. We see the Amatya Karaka, the applied career intelligence. We see the first house, identity and cognition. We see the third house, skill and effort. We see the fifth house, creativity and intelligence. We see the ninth house, wisdom and higher learning. We see the 10th house, public expression and career direction. We see planets not as labels, but as intelligence functions. Mercury shows how the child processes, communicates, analyzes, and learns. Jupiter shows wisdom, ethics, teaching, and meaning. Mars shows execution, logic, courage, technical ability, and action learning. Saturn shows discipline, structure, endurance, and long-term mastery. Moon shows emotional intelligence, memory, and receptivity. Venus shows aesthetic intelligence, harmony, sound, design, and value. Rahu shows unconventional hunger, digital reach, innovation, and ambition. Ketu shows abstraction, intuition, detachment, symbolic depth, and hidden pattern recognition. This is not fortune-telling. This is intelligence diagnosis through symbolic architecture. And Ava's diagnosis is clear. She is an investigative philosopher-engineer mind. She is here to understand what others avoid, decode what others miss, explain what others cannot articulate, and build wisdom out of complexity. The wrong education can make her look withdrawn, over-serious, or difficult. The right education can make her a researcher, strategist, psychologist, technologist, writer, teacher, counselor, analyst, designer of systems, or guide for complex human knowledge. So the real question is not, is Ava intelligent? The real question is, are we intelligent enough to educate her according to the intelligence she actually has? Because every child has a map, but not every child gets someone who knows how to read it. If you are a parent, teacher, school counselor, professor, or education psychologist, and you want to understand the real intelligence architecture of a child or teenager, not generic strengths, not shallow personality labels, but a deep, Karaka-based intelligence mapping reading, get in touch with me. I map the child's dominant intelligence type, learning style, emotional challenges, growth areas, suitable education paths, hobbies, and future-aligned fields of study using Vedic astrology techniques with Karaka as the core diagnostic engine. Because the right reading does not put a child in a box. It gives the child the right door to walk through.